G'day guys, welcome back to Leaf Blower Revolution Guide, and in this guide we're going through crafted leaf properties, which ones you should use, when you should use them, and which ones are the best. If you don't know, there are currently 38 different properties on your crafted leaves, ranging from damage to scrolls to increased MLC and BLC coins, and just to name a few, sorry. So I'm going to be going through all 38 properties, telling you which ones are good, which ones are bad, when you should use them, and how good they are throughout the whole game. To start off with, we have ALB damage. This one, basically useless. I don't think there is a use case for this on your crafted leaves, so definitely focus on something else. There might be a very specific way that you could farm that using this, but your damage is definitely going to be outclassing this ALB damage by a long shot. Next, we have a brew crit chance. This is an ST property, as the higher the brew chance you can get, the more chance you have at critting your brews. Meaning, if you get your crit chance as high as you can get your multi crits, and these multi crits can go up to 500, 600, 700%, meaning that you can get 5, 6, 7, 8x your brew amount, meaning that if you gained, let's just say, an item of 10 per brew, you'll be able to get up to 50, 60, 70, which is definitely a massive increase and time saving as well. Very recommended to get brew crit on your crafted leaves. Next is brew multi-crit chance. You may think that brew multi-crit chance is actually better than brew crit, however, your brew crit will roll over into multi-crit after you passed 100%, meaning that you're more beneficial and more efficient to go and get the normal brew crit chance than the multi-crit chance, as the multi-crit chance has a lot lower percentage increase than the normal brew crit chance. Next is BLC coins. BLC coins, flat and percent. I'm not sure which one is on the early game leaves, but whichever one will help you quite a lot. This is because by having a higher number of the other one will drastically increase the other one. So if you have a lot of BLC flat amount but not a lot of percentage, the BLC percent will actually help you increase your BLC amount by a lot. So this is very useful in the early game if you're looking for a little bit of a boost on your BLC coins. Later stages of the game, this becomes obsolete very quickly. Next is blower enemy damage. This blower enemy damage property is going to be sticking around with you throughout the whole game. Why? Is because you'll need blower enemy damage to kill a lot of enemies and bosses to progress. So you'll be having a set with blower enemy damage on it for a long time, so make sure you get comfortable with it. Same with the blower enemy damage percent. As the percent and flat multiply each other together, meaning that you're able to get a lot more damage with these two properties together. These are going to be your two best friends in the pyramid and the tower, even if you get to that stage with all those craft leaves, as it will give you a massive amount of damage increase. But you'll mainly get these combinations of flat and percent mainly when you're going into the pyramid and beyond. Next is combo multiplier. Combo multiplier on your crafted leaves can be extremely useful in the very early stages of the game, as it is highly effective to increase your combo multiplier when trying to get the new leaves of Celestial, Mythical, Lava, Ice, so that you're able to get as many as you can for that next area. Next we have converted crit value. There are some specific farming stuff that may help with converted crit value, but not too many, and it is only in a very specific sort of farming way that will benefit it much. But in general, you don't need to worry about converted crit value. Curses and curses a second, also curses percent, will definitely help you, but it is more a later property, as lower tier crafted leaves don't really give too many curses a second and percent, so there are definitely other better ways of getting curses than curses and curse percent. However, later in the game when you get up into Sacred Nebula and Energy Belt, curses a second set may actually be a bit beneficial, as you can combine that with another property, which is Curse Multiplier, which can definitely help you increase the efficiency of your witch farming. The next is damage resistance and absolute damage resistance. Outside of some very specific use cases, these properties aren't exactly the best. But if you have absolute damage resistance in the tower, then it is actually quite good if you've just entered it, as besides all the enemies just killing you straight away, you're able to survive some hits from them and be able to survive quite a bit longer, meaning that you can effectively farm more quickly and you can get more tokens so you can get more damage. And then once you get your damage rolling, you don't really have to worry about damage resistance anymore. Damage type. Damage type, there are currently from memory 6 damage types, maybe more, but you don't really need to worry about these damage types until you're in energy belt. These damage types have a weakness and a strength between each other, meaning that if you have one type against another type, it may be weak or strong, increasing or decreasing your damage. This will also be your friend in the energy belt when trying to defeat the bosses there. Enemy resource drop multiplier. This can actually be quite good in the tower, as the more resources that you can drop from enemies can actually help you quite a lot. Next, we have enemy shard count. Enemy shard count and enemy shard count multiplier are both great properties, but they have lost a little bit of their punch since the card update. Before the cards update, the enemy shards multiplier and just count used to be the best way of increasing the amount of shards you'll be able to get from killing nebula bosses. But from cards, there have become other ways of increasing that amount from bosses. So this definitely did drop off a little bit, but still alright if you're liking those shards per kill. Next we have energy charge a second. This doesn't really have a use unless you're an energy belt and you're farming energy. But outside of just farming energy to level some stuff up and quickly getting your energy storage max, then there isn't too much use to energy charge a second and percent. Max energy storage is quite useful, as the more storage that you can get will increase the amount of upgrades that you'll be able to get in the energy shop, as the only way to increase the max storage of your energy is through the max energy storage property. And max energy storage percent is the same as storage, just multiplying each other together. MLC coins and MLC coins percent can be quite useful when you've just started gaining MLC coins, but usually this will be quite diminishing returns after quite a bit, but still quite useful. Next we have nuclear fuel. Nuclear fuel set or property does have some very specific use cases, especially when gaining new areas or have unlocked a new leaf type that is extremely heavy and you need a lot of nuclear fuel to be able to push it and farm them quite effectively. But from those very specific use cases of new leaf farming, then it doesn't really have a use other than that. Next we have player HP. Player HP outside of a very specific way of farming with the Halloween event, then player HP is rather useless, but you can have it just randomly on a leaf if you have it, but there is only a couple of very specific use cases for player HP. Relic damage multiplier is a great property, very high rated property, as it will increase your damage by quite a lot, and it will increase it by quite a lot, especially in energy belt when trying to kill the bosses there. So definitely make sure that you have relic damage multiplier on your sets in energy belt. Next we have additional leaves. Additional leaves can be actually quite useful, but only for a couple of types of different leaves. You want to have it in the tower for your gem leaves, you want to have it for your ancient leaves in the pyramid, so you can more effectively farm those. There is also some other very specific use cases for additional leaves, but this is actually quite a good property, as it can gain you a massive bonus in the amount of leaves that you can get. Scroll duration is actually quite useful, as with higher and higher tiers of leaves, let's just say you have a whole leaf set full of scroll duration sharded and maxed. You can actually get over a year on one single scroll, meaning that you can just click it and forget about it. And because you have multiple scrolls in the thousands, you can basically get thousands of years worth of scrolls if you have a scroll duration on all your leaves. So this is actually quite good, as you don't have to worrying about your scrolls anymore. Next is skip tower floor chance percent and multiplier. This is an alright property. It can be quite good, especially if you're doing a specific farming of bosses. If you get this percentage just right for the tower, you can farm boss after boss after boss and not worrying about any of the in-between floors to get up to the boss. So if you're farming the boss cards, this will be a great chance for you to be able to boss farm with these two properties. The next is Luck Multiplier, one of your also best friends in getting damage, as this adds another multiplier upon your damage to get yourself some slap damage. This is also going to be your friend in your sets for a while, all the way from the pyramid, all the way up through the late game. More tower floors, percent, and flat is going to be another good friend of yours to increase your damage. Because throughout the pyramid and past the pyramid, the more max tower floors that you have, that is your all-time high max, will also actually increase the amount of damage you have. So the times 10 your floor is, the times 10 your damage will be. So more tower floors and more tower floors percent will definitely give you that boost to get that more damage if you're lacking it. Next is trade multiplier single. This is not too good. I don't think I've ever used it. But however, trade global multiplier is going to be your best friend, especially in the early game, into the tower and into the pyramid especially. Because the trade global multiplier affects cheese and beer, meaning that eventually you won't have to rely on materials, you won't have to rely on doing quests. You just have to rely on your trades, which can, once you've got 2-minute trades and a high enough trade global multiplier, meaning that you don't have to worry about cheese, you don't have to worry about beer, and at some point don't have to worry about Borbs at all, especially with Borb Ventures. Now, the last two is going to be another S tier properties. These are going to be the Witch Curse Multiplier and the Witch Essence Multiplier. As Witch is like basically half the game at this point, maybe even more, you'll be spending days upon days, months upon months just farming the Witch. And increasing the Essence and the Curse Multiplier is going to be the best way to fast track yourself on getting more Essence and more Curses for yourself, so you can quickly get up, max your leaves, get enough shards, max out your leaves again, increase your sets, fuse your leaves together, and get a new set. So you want to have as high as you can of Witch Essence Multiplier and Witch Curse Multiplier as you can. Both extremely good properties that will be used throughout the game since you unlocked it. And then you have the random right there. That is going to be all for today. I hope you enjoyed me talking about all these all these different leaf properties and when to use them and how good they are. And make sure you do like and subscribe as well, and I will catch you in the next one.